A very good morning, it's Fabio, and welcome back to another daily market update where we're going to be discussing euro dollar and the other major dollar pairs as well. A quick fundamental update. Yesterday, Trump officially announced the tariffs, shaking up the market. A flat 20 or 25% tariff was rumored, but instead we got a tiered system, much more complicated than many would have initially thought. Now, China has been hit the hardest with 60% tariffs imposed. European Union has faced 20% tariffs with potential escalations still to follow. A universal 10% baseline was imposed across other imports. So initially at the beginning of the speech, Trump mentioned, okay, there's going to be a 10% tariff or a 10% baseline tariff. So everybody thought, okay, well, the overall tariff is only going to be 10% instead of, for example, 25 or 20%, which was initially anticipated. So what did we see? We saw the market start to rally in towards the upside. But then he came with the tiered system, and that then again caused the market to dump. So especially if you look at crypto and stocks, you can see an initial pump up and then a very strong dump down lower. Now, the markets have been reacting instantly because the dollar has plunged to new year-to-date lows, and risk of currencies such as the Japanese yen, the Swiss franc, and the euro have been surging, while commodity currencies such as the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar were weaker against, for example, the yen against the Swiss and against the euro as well. So what is next? Is the dollar going to find support, or is this the beginning of a further sell-off? Let's find out. So Euro USD, first of all, to be discussed, guys. What do we know and what can we see? So Euro dollar overall, you guys know it here on the daily time frame. We've been discussing this for quite some time. Overall, we were bearish in towards the lows. So we had a break of structure here. We had another break of structure here. And then we had a break of structure in towards the upside. Now, we all know that the overall swing here on Euro dollar has been from this low in towards this high over here. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the week, or actually already for the past few days, that we could have been looking for shorts within this overall supply zone. However, the overall market is what is bullish. So overall, we never need to really retrace all the way back down into towards 0.5 fib. And I've been saying this every single market outlook. We do not need to retrace to this area of demand. Everybody's waiting for this demand zone to get hit. We don't need to retrace to 0.5 fib or this key level of support and resistance, because the market could just give us a small pullback and then boom, rally back up higher. The same happened with this overall dump here, where we saw a very strong push down, a minor pullback, and then an even stronger push in towards the downside. So the exact same thing could happen here on Euro USD. This afternoon or today, I'm going to be dropping a massive market outlook for Euro dollar overall and the general market in general. So overall for Euro USD, now we're going to be breaking market structure here, and let's see what today's candle close will bring. But overall, it looks good to start rallying up higher. Overall for myself, pretty much the next target for Euro USD is going to be around 1.12, which are these highs over here. So Euro dollar looks good to rally. For me, the uncertainty surrounding the dollar is going to remain, and the overall swing on Euro USD is going to remain bullish. Overall, we understand, or I understand, that you're still looking for long positions on euro. So you want to understand, okay, is it going to actually pull back? Now at the moment, this is your daily demand zone, so let's go into the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour time frame, just simply follow the overall 4 hour fractal structure. Yesterday I did mention there were still some shorting opportunities, but obviously, yeah, we were ranging inside of this little box here. And at the moment, what I'm looking for is for the overall 4 hour fractal structure to remain bullish. So here we had a 4 hour fractal break. This is now your 4 hour fractal low. This is now your 4 hour fractal high. So anywhere between these two blue lines, Euro USD remains bullish, and I'll be looking for further upside, to further long Euro dollar. Obviously, it's going to be a very eventful day and / week ahead. There's still going to be a lot of news coming out for the markets itself, but overall, I am still definitely looking for that further upside on Euro USD, and you can take that into consideration, when trading, the lower time frame whatsoever. So obviously, the market structure overall is a little bit messy at the moment. I'm not really looking to get into any immediate positions at this point. Here, for example, we have a nice area of demand with some equal lows right above it. I'm personally not looking for longs from this demand zone. I think if it does push that low, it's going to swipe that low and then, for example, reverse up higher. So yeah, I mean, I am interested in for the longs, but we're going to need to see what the 4 hour, what the daily does, and as long as this low over here is respected on the 4 hour time frame, I'm still interested in Euro USD buys. Now going into the dollar index for myself is also very, very bearish. Again, I don't really need to break it down too much, but at the same time, I feel like I do. You guys know it. I've been calling for the downside from the dollar for the past few weeks already / months. Overall, I'm still just looking for that for the downside to pursue. I want to see how this weekly candle is going to close. Preferably, it's going to close strong bearish, and then this is going to be your weekly supply. And then from next week onwards, we're just going to be looking for further continuation in towards the downside as long as that black line holds. And we have a beautiful area of supply then to look for further downside from. For now, the immediate target obviously is going to be this weekly sell before the buy, which is your weekly demand zone. So the next target for the dollar index is around 101,900, with my end target being 100 itself, and this low over here. So looking for further downside from the dollar, either it just happens directly or we retrace in towards supply and we'll look for further shorts. On the 4-hour time frame, we obviously have some supply in, let's say, this imbalance or this overall gap that we have over here. So if we retrace in towards there, I'll be looking for some further downside from the dollar overall. For me, the dollar is still very, very weak. Overall, people are still kind of like not being able to rely on the dollar because, let's say, traditionally the dollar is a risk off currency, but now we're seeing that the euro, the Swiss franc, and the Japanese yen are the new, or not the new, but are like the current risk off pairs, and people are kind of staying away from the dollar due to its very heavy uncertainty. So I wouldn't be looking to buy the dollar at all, only looking for further sells. And if that is in line with your plan, monitor it on the 1-hour time frame. Obviously, price action is a little bit rubbish over here, so that's why I'm just focusing on the higher time frame for now. And my higher time frame bias is still the dollar down, meaning EURUSD up and GBPUSD up as well. Looking at AUDUSD, we can see that AU is still very, very messy. Reason being is that it's waiting for China to announce what it's going to do in those counter tariffs. Obviously, the United States imposed the highest tariffs on China, being 60%. So China is going to slap back, and I think that is currently what AUDUSD is waiting for, because the Australian dollar is very dependent on what China does and what its trade policies are. But overall, I am still looking for further upside. I think that once China kind of like announces what it's going to do, it is going to push us up higher. Overall, here we had a daily fractal structure break on this high. That was the high that broke this low over here. So again, very messy price action, but overall I'm looking for that further upside. Going into the 4-hour time frame here, you can also see that the 4-hour is very, very messy. But again, we did swipe more lows over here. We retraced all the way back down in towards the deepest area of demand that we had over here. And this demand zone for now is holding. So interested in further upside, but I mean, we can also all see that AUDUSD is pretty consolidative at the moment. So you could also apply the range trading tool, and then if we look at the range trading tool, you can currently see that the market is at the 0.5 fib. So we just turn on the 0.5 fib here over like this. Then you can see the 0.5 is kind of like the chop zone where the market just tends to kind of like bounce off of the entire time. So you pretty much want to be buying from the 25%, and you want to be looking for let's say risk off at the 75%. So let's say that AUDUSD does sell off one more time. I'll be looking for some more buys from the lows overall. Currently this is more like a no trading region where we're currently positioned at. Going into GBPUSD, we can see that GU broke out up higher. So again, very, very clear to me, guys, and I understand, again, a lot of us were looking for short positions. Personally, I was not even actually looking at GBPUSD too much, but overall we all understand that we had this area of supply. However, the immediate market structure is bullish from this low pretty much in towards this high at the time. Now obviously everybody's looking for a retracement in towards the downside, in towards this demand zone over here, which is again the beautiful 618. And again, I feel like I've been explaining this every single day, but it's very important to understand that everybody's looking for these longs over here. But again, as I explained, like the fundamentals is what drives the markets. And again, as well, if you look at the daily fractal structure and at the individual candlesticks, you can already understand that the pullback was potentially over. So here we had a high break, here we had a low break, here we had a low break, and then here we had a high break once again. So this here was the daily fractal break, this was the daily fractal low, this was the daily fractal high. I mean, I mentioned that GBPUSD was a good long as long as the daily fractal remained bullish. And as well, I hope some of you were able to take it. Like myself, I didn't trade GU obviously for the consolidative reasons, but if we look here at the range trading tool, and I drew this in I think in yesterday's video, you can see again 25% mark, that is where the buys were to be taken, and that caused the market to break out in towards the upside. So nice price action overall. Obviously GU is still very, very bullish, with the dollar being very, very weak. for now, I guess this is your immediate demand zone over here. So let's just keep an eye on it. If it does retrace, then yeah, potential longs inside of there, or what we're going to have to keep an eye on is just for some reaccumulation before again further upside. For me, GBPUSD is also bullish, just like EURUSD, and I'll be looking for it to reach around 1.35 or 1.34 in the near future. So yeah, looking for further upside from GBPUSD. Yeah, for now. Okay, so that's what I have for GU. I mean, again, I can look at the 1 hour time frame, but what do you want me to say? Like, it's been rallying in towards the highs after a very long phase of accumulation. So the orders are already picked up for people who position themselves long in regards to the big banks. So for now, like, what can you do? I'm not really looking for a trade on this. I mean, let's see, is there any supply zone that we're currently in? Like, not really. There are still descending highs here to our left. Like, this is the overall liquidity high. I would only be interested in trading a potential pullback if we take out that high over there. And then I would be monitoring the 4 hour and the 1 hour. So for now, the 4 hour fractal is bullish. The 1 hour is also bullish. But like, if you would break this low, then you could be looking at a pullback. But then again, if you look at the higher time frame, you're not at an area of interest here to the left. So it doesn't make sense to trade to trade that pullback. So for myself, the only interesting trade for a short position will come once we take out that liquidity high. And for longs, just try and get in on the over order flow for now, in my opinion. Going into NZDUSD, we can see that NU is very similar to AU. Overall, we saw a nice strong push in towards the highs yesterday under the initial assumption that tariffs would only be 10%. Then Trump came, obviously, with all those tariffs about the fact that it's going to be much higher. China 60%. Again, NZD is very dependent on China as well. That's why when China had that 60% tariff, it sold off very, very hard. But now it's rebounding again under the assumption that China is going to have counter tariffs, and as well there are some other reasons for that which I've shared inside Discord, so link is in the description of this video. But overall, again, a very, very nice price action in general, where we had this area of demand, we had these two equal lows get taken out, V-shaped reversal in towards the highs, and then what did we see? We saw the 4 hour fractal high break over here. Then obviously this pretty much becomes your demand zone. You could refine that demand zone to the smaller sell before the buy that we had over here. And then you can see that we exactly tap in towards there before again shooting up. So overall, a good price action. Yesterday as well, here we grabbed liquidity above kind of like this range, above these equal highs which I mentioned, and we tapped in towards this supply zone over here. But overall, for me, this is a temporary reaction because the overall bigger picture is still bullish on NZDUSD, where we have a break, and I'm looking for the upside continuation. This is the swing low, this is the swing high. Overall, actually a very, very nice setup. I'm still a little bit pissed with myself that I did not take it, but you can see a very nice deep retracement in towards this demand zone, 4 hour change of character, 4 hour refined demand zone, and then it pushes up higher. So for NZD, I'm still looking for further upside on that. Going into dollar yen and dollar CAD, beautiful positions overall. So dollar yen obviously sold off with the dollar being very, very risky, people not wanting to move their money into the dollar, and people are looking to move their money into the yen, into the Swiss franc, into the euro, into gold. So what we saw here was, again, the exact setup that I drew out in yesterday's market outlook happened. We had the liquidity high, we grabbed the liquidity, we fill up this area of supply as well, and then from there we sell off. I mean, congrats if you took it. I know some of you did. Oscar as well took it. Overall, just an absolute beautiful setup. Daily fractal structure was bearish overall. Again, what happened here is that we had daily fractal high break, daily fractal low break, daily fractal low break now again. So for now, this is kind of like your immediate area of supply. So if we do retrace in towards there, you could look for more shorts, but overall, it does seem like 145 is going to be hit next for dollar yen, and for sure, in my opinion, we're going to be taking out this low here of 146. So wait for it to tap in towards that weekly demand zone, and then from there, let's see what happens. But overall, for now, dollar yen is bearish and not looking good for further upside. Also here on the weekly time frame, you can see that the weekly buy before the sell candle, again, weekly buy for the sell on dollar yen is very, very strong. That is what held and what pushed the market down lower, and the exact same thing happened in the past here with this buy before the sell as well, again pushing the market down lower as soon as we tapped into it. So overall, very nice price action. Just want to touch on USDCAD for 1 second, because the Canadian dollar is exempt from tariffs and the Mexican peso as well. This caused USDCAD to have a massive downside push, that's the reason for that CAD strength and the dollar weakness. Yeah, again, because the Canadian dollar is now exempt from those tariffs, as Trump mentioned yesterday in his speech. So if you're wondering why USDCAD is pushing down lower so strongly, that is why. Now, going onwards into gold, last of all, we had gold, and gold saw a rally in towards the highs, obviously amidst the uncertainty as it's a safe haven asset. Overall, looking for further longs. Yeah, we still have a lot of equal lows underneath here. If we take out some more lows, I'll be looking for longs again. Not really interested in looking for longs at this current level, as I don't really like trading from equal lows where, in my opinion, liquidity or stop losses lie underneath. So I want to see those lows get taken out first before looking for further upside. But overall, still very bullish on gold. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to sell at the moment because there's still so much uncertainty surrounding these tariffs. What is China going to do? What is Europe going to do? They're all announcing that they have these plans, especially China and Europe. They are coming with those retaliation plans. So let's see what those are. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen today. Also on Friday, we have NFP and Powell is going to be speaking. So Powell is going to be moving the market on Friday as well, because obviously he's going to be commenting on the tariffs and the effect that that will have on inflation. But yeah, I'll be dropping a massive market outlook inside Discord. So make sure to join there. Guys, thanks for watching this daily market outlook. As always, if you enjoy kind of like these fundamental talks, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll try to do it more often. Thank you so much and have an amazing trading day.